Hello, this is Tim from Vintage RC Garage. Today I'm going to do a best practices video about how to properly package a vintage RC for shipping. So when the time comes where you need to send your prized possessions off to a new owner, you can have confidence it'll get there in one piece. I did this video because I buy a lot of RC cars and parts. I have seen my fair share of good and bad packaging. Hopefully this video will prevent you from making the same mistakes I see over and over again. Let me just start by saying that regardless of whether you ship with USPS, UPS, or FedEx, your package is going to get abused on its journey to its destination. When I was in college, I worked for UPS on school breaks as a driver's helper. I got to work with a number of drivers, and one thing I got out of that experience was that your package is going to get abused. It will get thrown, it will get stacked, it will even get used as a lunchtime seat for a footrest. So, if you want your RC to arrive in one piece, you're going to have to package it right. Vintage RCs are precious cargo. If for no other reason, it's really hard and really expensive to find replacement parts. You can't just go down to your local hobby store and find a replacement part. So, please ship with care. Of course, even if you are shipping a Riri, following a few simple steps can make the receiver happy and not sad. The biggest packing fail I would like to stress here has to do with shipping your car or truck with the body attached. I would have to say that almost every time I've received a car with the body attached, there has been some kind of damage. It doesn't matter if it's a hard body or a polycarbonate, they can easily crack. Remember, these things are old. Here is a mint condition vintage Subaru Brat I received completely trashed. Both the front and rear clips completely blew out due to improper packaging. More commonly, it's the polycarbonate shells that break. Here is a manta ray that was shipped to me complete. There was some attempt to cushion the interior, but the box was just not sturdy enough, and there was just too much movement inside the box to allow it to survive in one piece. The problem occurs when the weight of the car puts stress on the shell. Since the shell is attached, it can only flex so far before breaking. Body post areas are especially susceptible, although they're not the only places that will break. Wings are also fragile, and any place the shell might be tightly locked into the chassis. This boomerang was packaged just with packing peanuts, which might seem like a good idea, but there is a lot of space for things to move and flex during shipping, which allows the weight of the car to shift around and put stresses at different angles. So I would not recommend that approach. Okay, that's the bad news on body shells. What I would recommend you do to protect the body is to physically remove the body from the chassis. Package each part separately. Pay special attention to wrapping the shell with bubble wrap. Also make sure that you fill the body cavity with packing material so that there is as little compression opportunity as possible. If you are also shipping the chassis, make sure that the box is small enough where you do not have to fill large open spaces with packing material, and also make sure the chassis is wrapped appropriately so its sharp edges and weight don't become the problem. If you want to earn a gold star from the teacher, create a structure around the body after it's protected and then pack that inside the rest of the box. I have to say that no matter what you are shipping, the number one item that should not be overlooked is your box. I have seen some really good boxes and some really bad boxes in my time. So what should you avoid? There are two things that I would make sure you never do with boxes. The first is to use a weak box. When I first received this box, I got pretty mad at the post office for destroying it. At least they took the effort to put a plastic bag over it to collect all the broken pieces that were falling out. After I took the bag off, there wasn't a single part of the box that wasn't bent or cracked open. It wasn't until I emptied the box that I realized the contents had been doomed from the beginning. The shipper had used a flimsy chip box. It never had a chance. The second thing to be mindful of when it comes to your box is to make sure that there is never too much open space after you pack everything up. No matter how hard you try to fill open spaces with packing material, if there are open spaces, things will shift and crush. Your best bet here, that I have seen done successfully over and over, is to make your own box. It's not as hard as you think. You can cut down from the top at the corners and then fold in an extra space. Once it fits snug, you can just simply tape your new seams. If you cut it down and leave void spaces, it is guaranteed to crush. But if you cut down correctly to fit nice and snug, it makes a great carrier for shipping with high odds of success. If you don't make your own box, at least try to create fillers that have some structure. This approach works really well when things you are shipping have naturally large gaps or obscure shapes that make it hard to get the box to fit correctly. This topic gets really scientific, so you might want to pay attention. You need to make sure you always secure your pointy thingies. Seriously though, the body shells are your biggest problem, but that doesn't mean that you have nothing else to worry about. Here are a few tips that should help avoid some other very common types of damage I receive from improper shipping practices. First up are the tires, which sometimes require special handling, especially for the larger truck tires like the lunchbox. They take up a lot of surface space and can get into some unusual forces applied. I would recommend always removing the larger tires while shipping. If you are shipping a buggy with the smaller tires, you are usually okay leaving them attached as long as you are following the other advice in this video. That will save some components, but exposes others. Your first pointy thingy to secure are the axle ends once you remove the tires. These will become lethal weapons that will punch through any box you throw at it. I've received way more than a few kit boxes with nice punch holes through them because the chassis was inside and the axles were not secured. Some innovative ideas I've seen to help this is to use plastic caps that sometimes come with shipped merchandise. Something else that works well is to cut up a pool noodle and place it around the axle. The other pointy thingies you need to watch out for are the body posts. These also can reveal themselves as lethal weapons if not secured appropriately. This clodbuster chassis was shipped inside the box, and since the chassis profile was slightly taller than the box, it arrived with some nice cute poke holes through the top of my otherwise excellent condition clodbuster box. Another cool idea for these are the use of earplugs stuck onto the point of the post. Pool noodles also work well here. This section is dear to my heart because I not only collect and restore used vintage RCs, but I also have a large collection of vintage new in-box kits. If you are selling a new in-box kit, please make sure that you adjust your sale price to account for some very extensive packaging. I mean, someone is spending top dollar on a new in-box kit, and the value of vintage kits are all about how pristine the inside and outside of everything reaches you. There is nothing more disheartening than paying top dollar for a new in-box kit only to find out that a lazy shipper introduced a new scratch or gouge on the box, or even worse, having one of the tree parts break off from the parts tree due to movement. This first one should be pretty obvious, but you would be amazed the number of times I have seen this. If you are shipping a vintage kit, do not put the shipping label directly on the box. Thankfully, this example was on a Riri, but I mean, come on people, let's use our heads just a little bit here. With new in boxes, the condition of the box is important, so take care of it. You should wrap the exterior of the box completely with bubble wrap. This serves two purposes. First, it protects the box from wear and tear during shipping, and also in the case where the box gets jabbed. But let's back up a bit. To me, the most important time spent packaging a new in box is done inside the box. This is not always possible since some kits are sealed, some have the blister pack sealed, etc. And you should never break any seals just for this purpose since it reduces the kit's value. But open any box that is already open and make sure you pack it so that absolutely nothing moves during shipping. This is actually one reason I rarely buy a new in-box kit that claims to still be factory sealed with plastic wrap. These kits will be shipped without the ability to protect the inner components, and I have seen many times that this usually means tree parts are damaged and body shells get scratched. Here is a superb example of a well-packed new in-box I received. The kit box was protected with layers of bubble wrap on all sides. Extra cardboard was used to further buffer the shipping box from the kit box, and then a buffer layer was extended all around all four sides of the shipping box, including the bottom. Once I opened it up, every piece and part was individually wrapped in bubble wrap to completely avoid movement as well as protecting the components from themselves. At this point, I've covered most of the major areas you need to be aware of when shipping vintage RCs. There are some smaller things here and there that I have seen go wrong, so if you want to go the extra mile, this next section will also be an interest. Here is a quick rundown of other examples of good things that I have seen people do with their shipping. Completely surround and isolating each part makes a happy package. If there are small loose items that might rattle around, throw some extra padding so they don't get damaged. Whenever possible, always take the time to individually wrap each component in the box. Removing the shell and also building in structure inside the outer box is a great way to avoid the box from crushing and also keep larger items separated. If you are shipping small parts, take the time to top off screw box components so that items don't slip between the dividers. Also, make sure you securely close the lid so it doesn't open up or flex. Don't forget the bottom. Make sure you give it some love too. As a final parting shot, I will leave you with an example of someone who knows how to secure everything nice and neat. In the end, give shippers a break. You can usually tell if the shipper had good intentions and the postal service just let you down, or if the shipper really just didn't care and screwed you. The first thing I do when I receive broken parts is to go back to the eBay listing and double check the listing photos for something I missed. Sometimes the damage is already there, and sometimes it's not. Thanks for watching the good, the bad, and the ugly for Vintage RC shipping. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that I can save at least one Vintage RC car from destruction. Subscribe to my channel and catch all my new and exciting content. See you next time.